Yeovil has always been a hive of activity in the heart of Somerset. In the past, it was able to boast 5 railway stations and goodyards. Yeovil Pen Mill and Junction are still in operation today, but at one time there was also Henford Halt, Henford Goods Yard, and also Yeovil Town. Yeovil Town was opened on the 1st of June 1861, and it was 25.5 miles from Taunton. Originally, the line ran from Durnston, which is just outside Taunton, and stopped at Henford, which was Yeovil's first station ever built. When the line was extended to Pen Mill, Yeovil Town became the main stop for passengers and Henford was relegated to a goods yard. This image was taken around 1880, shows the station building at the end of Southwestern Terrace. The town station was an impressive sight for the townsfolk. This was partly due to the fact that it was a joint station building by the London and South Western Railway and the Bristol and Exeter Railway, which was later taken over by the GWR. Originally, the station had 2 station masters, one for each of the railway companies. Behind the main entrance, you had everything a busy station could need: a coal yard, cattle pens, 2 signal boxes, tanks, goods sheds, grains, and even wool stores. There was also a turntable which could take engines up to 43 feet long. The station was at the end of Station Road in the southwest of the town. The main building was just the start of what was an impressive landmark. Inside, the longer part of the lofty bright engine shed which covered the GWR and LSWR platforms. The GWR platform was 400 feet long, where the LSWR platform was only 270 feet. On the right is a set of LSWR salmon pink and light brown coaches at one of the 2 platforms. As with Crystal Palace, which was erected 10 years before the imposing sheds at Yeovil Town, the cast iron components were very durable, but the timber supports for the glass were not so long lasting. This outside view of the shed shows a D1 042T engine standing just under the failing glazed panels. This shot, taken in the early 1900s, shows an impressive glass roof over the platforms. In the foreground is the original turntable for the line alongside the engine shed. This photo was taken in 1926. It clearly shows Windham Hill in the background, one of the only things that hasn't changed. The rest of the landscape is now unrecognisable. You can see a second engine shed just south of the main building. There is also one of the station masters' houses. Southern Rail allocated mostly 440s to its engine shed that were working on the Salisbury to Exeter line. The stonework of the station became more evident after the demolition of the train shed, although people wouldn't have appreciated it on a rainy day, something that Somerset sees all too often. The platform was low in relation to the floor, the Southern Rail trains, a disadvantage when loading milk churns and other heavy items. The 3 main passenger lines were known as Main, Down Southern and Up Southern. This image was taken in March of 1963. By that time, the shed allocation includes mainly Southern Rail Class U260s. Taken from Dodham Bridge, which is now long gone, you can see the track for the Pen Mill to Taunton on the left. The double track in the junction are next to that. The engine in the foreground is a 060 PT and was part of the largest class of locomotives numerically in the country. Again, the view from Dodham Bridge on the left was used for cattle and sheep movements to and from Yeovil. In the centre of the image is the Yeovil signal box. Turning around on that bridge, this was a view towards Henford and then on to Taunton. This was taken on the 29th of December on the very cold winter that ran from 1962 into 1963. This is the Yeovil Town signal box in 1964, the driver of the Taunton train handing over a single line token to the signalman. On the side of the old gasworks, there were large storage containers. This had a private siting which was also led to Farr scrapyard. The goods yard office had a tractor alongside it which was occasionally used for shunting wagons. Here is another shot of the goods yard showing a manually operated turntable. This one gave access to Yeovil gasworks for coal and tar wagons. In later years, Royal Blue coaches used their forecourts of the station to collect customers, ironically taking them away from the railway. The refreshment room was the only one to benefit from this arrangement. With the introduction of diesel locomotives, the steam sheds all over the country started to close. The end came for Yeovil Town on the 12th of June 1965. The engineer, number 75005, was marshalling redundant locos to the breakers yard at Eastleigh. As rail travel declined in favour of bus routes and the motorcar, the number of stations fell, and it wasn't long before the line from Yeovil to Taunton was closed. The last passenger train was on the 15th of June 1964. The very last trains to leave the station, freight for Westlands, was on the 6th of May 1968. This image, taken in September of 1969, shows the site was used for reception of unused tracks and materials lifted during the dismantling of the Castle Kerry to Dorchester route. The station was finally taken over by the council in the 1970s. They chose to demolish the station buildings, the goods shed, the signal boxes, everything. The once proud station was reduced to nothing. This image, taken in the winter of 1973, shows the demolition of the buildings and the clearance of the tracks. In 1985, the site was transformed into a car park. This image was taken of the Newton Road Bridge in 1999. Where once mighty steam engines stood, capable of carrying many passengers in one trip, now stands an emblem of its demise, a parking area for cars. There is very little evidence that the station once stood on that site today. There is a simple plaque stating, "This is the foundation stone of the Yeovil Town Station which stood on this site. The station was closed in 1967 and demolished in 1973. The stone itself has the date of 1860 on it. The stone and the plaque are easily missed and probably walked past 100 times a day without even a thought. This once mighty station reduced to a simple plaque. It is sad to see how much of the site has changed in the past few decades. Today, Yeovil Leisure Park has a bowling alley, a cinema, a gym and restaurants. No more smell of steam, no passengers waiting for a day out, no goods to be delivered." You can still walk the old site to Pen Mill, walking where the old iron road ran, and if you venture off the beaten track a little, there is still some remainders that the railway ran through Nine Springs. I am currently working on an entire journey from Pen Mill to Taunton that closed in the 1960s. I'm on the lookout for archive movie footage of the other stations. If you have any cine film, photos, or interesting stories that you remember from the line, please reach out to me by leaving a comment here or via my website. Thank you. Please visit our website for news about new productions that are on the way, and you can support my work on my Patreon page. Thank you.